is there so many people? Is this, before we start, is this media day or coaches day? Have at it.
All right, guys, raise your hand if you'd like to. Anybody? Start here, John.
Cal, any concerns about Sheldon's ankle lingering or what's the status?
No, he's full to go today.
John, I know you were talking about the 10-year anniversary. You published the notes from your very first press conference. Why do you hang on to those? Do you hang on to all kinds of stuff?
I do hang on to, I probably anywhere that I've ever had to speak, I have it, I put it together, and there are more notes than I don't read, just bullet points. And so I was cleaning my desk off, and I was gonna throw a tablet out, and I lifted it, and I stuck it under there. I don't have any idea when I did it or why. So I pulled it out and looked at it and smiled, and I sent a picture of it to TJ and Eric. And just said, how about my notes from the first press conference? And can't remember all of it, but I do know that what was on there I talked about. And it's, the reason I kind of liked that we sent it out was it's kind of stuck true to what we talked about. You know, the culture that we were trying to develop, and making it about the players first, and competing for championships, and, you know, holding players accountable, and all the things that we talked about there is kind of how we've pieced this together.
Y'all remember the right side of the room?
Can you tell us about how the Bahama trip helped the players develop and how it benefits them?
Well, the Bahamas, I think we should be able to do something like football does in spring football. And again, I've been saying it for a number of years. Why don't we own the first 2 weeks of August, college basketball? Maybe you want to practice and bring foreign teams to you. You don't have to travel. Bring them here. They can be televised or not televised. You could practice and not play anybody. It doesn't cost you anything. There's no cost to it. And if you choose to travel, maybe it's every other year, you can take your team and go somewhere. And the main reason is it's good for the kids. All the college basketball, it would be good for the kids. If we make rules that are based on that premise, is this good or bad for these players, the kids? You're not going to make many mistakes when you say it's good for them. For this basketball team, a lot of anxiety was wiped out. So now they could be more comfortable going into what they were about to face. Because we can all say what we want to when they're 17 and 18 years old and they have a swagger, but it's a swagger that the minute the raindrop hits their shoulder, they're 17, 18 years old. To be able to go down there and do what they did, to share, to play together, to know that everybody is going to be involved in this, I think it helped. It did put us ahead more than I want to be. You guys know that have heard me talk. I don't want us to look like it's January in November, because you can't get better. You can't. The team can't keep improving. What we've tried to do here every year is play our best basketball in March. If you look and say, wow, by the end of the year, that's when they're playing their best. Well, if you're playing like this in November, how in the world are you going to get better? And if it is, it's going to be just a little bit. But the anxiety, bringing the team together, having a spirit about them, having an ability to say, I get it, I know where you're trying to take this now, it was all really good.
Stay here on the right side of the room.
Cal, the non-conference is loaded, also the SEC schedule, it's going to be tough. Is this the, from top to bottom, toughest you've seen the SEC since been?
Oh yeah. Somebody went up to watch Vanderbilt, and one of the pro scouts hit back and just said, they're good. They're good. They're better than we thought they would be. They're good. So you start talking Vanderbilt, we play them twice. You know Florida twice. You know Tennessee twice. You know whoever the best teams are, we're playing twice. Let me just put it that way. And so, I'm happy for the league. Makes it tougher for us. Every game we play, every road game we play will be hard to win. Doesn't matter how good you are. It's gonna be a ridiculously hard game. So last year, how many teams did we get in last year? And if you remember me talking about that for the 5 years, and now it becomes keep getting teams in and keep advancing those teams.
Go to Tim.
John, Roy Williams got a fair amount of flack for saying he was dumbfounded by the allegations and the testimony in the trial in New York. Can a coach at your level, your experience, be surprised by anything that's going to happen?
Tim, I've been going like crazy. As you guys know, I got in last night about 3:30 in the morning, so I haven't followed all the stuff. It is a black eye. It's not good for basketball. I hope the decisions we're making out of this are all based on what's best for the kids, not to change just for change's sake. But I do think it brought the outliers in, that this has brought light to, like, this can't be done. You know, other than that, I'm really, literally not, I don't know what's been said, or I'm like in, and I just got in a little while ago, you won't believe this. I didn't come in at 8 o'clock this morning since I got in around 3:34. This thing that we're all doing, hopefully it brings about bringing this stuff together. Let's just not make decisions that aren't good for these kids, and our evaluation of them or whatever else that may be.
Now, you said the Bahamas trip got you guys maybe farther ahead than what you want to be at this particular time. Can you slow growth of the team down? And do you have markers throughout the course of the year of where you want to see them at?
Well, we haven't started scrimmaging yet, and I thought this would be a scrimmage team, but I didn't want to start down that road yet. So we haven't done anything with zone, offense or defense, very little. And we're going to have to, because I think the first 4 or 5 games, you're going to have teams playing as a majority zone. And the other side of this is the pressing. This should be a pressing team, and we haven't really done that yet. So I've zeroed in on 4 or 5 things where I'm trying to create habits of individual players and then habits of our pace of game. So that's what I've zeroed in on. In other words, we're flying, but you don't play real fast. You're still in control. You're having poise. And what does that mean, and what does it look like? So that's what we're trying to do right now, and not get ahead to where we're a full-blown, I think we did a walkthrough before the first combine, and I said, let's take it out on the baseline. What did we do in the Bahamas? I don't even remember. They did. What did we do on the sideline? They went and got it. I didn't. It's the first time we even talked about sideline, baseline. Haven't talked about press attack. So I'm not slowing down like not working, but I'm slowing down what I'm giving them to master right now. And let's master this individually. And it's good because we have still young kids that we're going to be relying on.
Go Terry, John, Daryl. You guys just pass the mic over here, please.
Opening with 2 is an unusual opening game. How does that impact preparation and the whole thing?
You would know I'm not, we agreed to do it, but, you know, it's just a hard game. And it's a hard game for Duke, too. They've got young guys. It's just a hard game out of the gate, playing a program that has really good players and is really well coached and is not intimidated by the scenery. And that's what we play right out of the gate. But it also wakes you up early in the morning. You've got to, you know, you just know that let's not get too far ahead. And at this point, I can't tell you exactly what we'll have in. We won't have everything in. It's going to be November or whatever. But we're going to have enough to try to say this is how we'll play this game. And hopefully we have enough in that we can compete with that team playing with what we have in.
John, there are reports out there that you're really, really enamored with this particular team. First of all, can you confirm those reports? And secondly, if so, what do you attribute the energy and enthusiasm on
This, people the guys that did the combine, the NBA crew that came in, all those coaches, they looked and said, it looks as though Cal's really enjoying coaching this group. Well, when you don't have to coach effort, when you don't have to coach the enthusiasm, the passion you have to play with, when you don't have to coach a competitive spirit, fight, go, come on, dive on that. I don't have to coach that with this team. So now you know what you're coaching? Basketball. So now you coach basketball, and I love coaching basketball. That other stuff is like having to take the guy to the dentist, open your mouth, take the needle. I mean, it's painful for them and it's painful for me. This is gonna hurt me much more than it hurts you. But the reality of it is when you're coaching basketball and they're trying to do what you're asking them to do, and they're literally, these dudes are like, we're having to kind of get in between, like stop, you know, but after it's over, they're great. But that's what you look, fight like heck on this court, make each other better, compete. You try to beat him every day, he's trying to beat you every day. If he's beating you, you better get in the gym more, because eventually he's gonna leave you in the dust. Yet when it's over, we're all together, we're family. And that's how they've been doing it. So yeah, I am excited that way. We need a couple guys, and I don't know who they're gonna be to be those separators, to be those catalysts. Who is gonna be that guy? No one knew it would be Shea last year. No one knew, I didn't know. And so it develops, and we all know why it was Shea. He was here at 7 in the morning shooting, he watched video of himself and other people. He was in the weight room, he was unbelievable. He never missed a class, never missed a tutor, did everything he was supposed to, was wired to say, I just got to get better. And he makes himself a lottery pick, and it looks like he started for the Clippers. What? They were like, who is this kid? He's long, he's pretty good. Where is he from? Who was he? And now all of a sudden he does that. Well, guess what? Now we got 6 or 7 guys in the gym. I did say when we got off the plane to Kenya, I doubt if anybody's in there at this time, because it was really late. But at 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, if you drive by, those lights will be on out there. Those guys are in there. I don't know, sometimes it's fear, I'm not good enough, or sometimes it's a chip on my shoulder, I'm going to prove that I'm better than everybody thinks. Sometimes it's just a competitive spirit that it's a habit you have. You want to see how good you can get. And you know, we try to recruit it. You know, this thing, you know, John Wall and Eric Bledsoe coming together was the start of that. Even DeMarcus coming when we had big guys here my first year. It proved that, look, I don't care who's here, we can play together, we can do this. Plus we'll get better because we're playing against each other. Then you had Brandon Knight, who would be in the gym at 11 o'clock at night in January. What are you in here for? I had the guy holding the rope, and he's running with the rope around his waist. The guy's holding him, and he's sweating. What are you doing? He said, yeah, I just wanted to get a workout in. Why didn't you do it early? I had chemistry, and I wanted to make sure I was studying for the test tomorrow. You're leaving in 3 months. But he brought that here, plus he was a straight A student. And then the kids, I don't know, it was great, somebody showed me that there was an article out about the kids talking about how we approach them. That it's not, you're going to start, you're going to be the face, you're going to be the best player, every shot's going through. We're going to showcase you. You're going to be this, you're going to be the one they look back to 30 years from now and say, you built this. We don't do any of that. I've said it publicly, I've said it, and now all of a sudden they did it, and they each individual guy separately, and they kind of came back with what we do. Now you may ask, why would you give out trade secrets? Would you ask that? Why would you tell them what you're doing? Who else would be stupid enough to recruit that way? To tell them it's going to be really hard. We're going to have really good players. I can't give you anything. You're going to have to earn it. I don't know. I mean, are you good enough? If you're not good enough, you shouldn't do that. If anybody else wants to go down that route with us, I would say have at it. Let's go. But that culture has been built here. And it was was fun to see every guy, because I can remember the home visits. Even, they talked about Reed. My comment to Reed, you averaged 20 points last year. How are you gonna be if you're averaging 13 or 14 or 12? You averaged 10 rebounds last year. Can you average 12? Here's where you gotta work. If you come here, here's what we're gonna do to try to help you. Can I just say this? That's why we don't get everybody we recruit. It's exactly why we don't get everybody we recruit. Some kids want to know it's guaranteed that they've got this spot. We just don't do it. And I would hope to think that's why we have the guys that we have that came here. They want this challenge.
But Daryl and Larry, at the end of the Bahamas trip, you said you hadn't had a chance to do any individual work with Reed. I was wondering how that's going, how much has changed his game recruit.
Well, first of all, I got to tell you, you know, he was a little bit heavy. I don't want to say heavy. He's big boned. He was 262 pounds. And I said, you got to lose 20 pounds. We got to get you quick. You remember down in the Bahamas where he caught it and would gather, and then he couldn't get it to the rim and, you know, try to play the bully game. Well, if you're watching now, he's getting away from that. He did jumping drills, and he was jumping above the square. You know that thing over the rim, that square? He was above the square, standing flat-footed. And everybody's like, what? Who is this? Well, I asked him, what's your weight? He said, 245. I said, you know, maybe we try 5 more. Okay, about 5 more. And he kind of looked at me and I said, what's your body fat? He said, 5.4. Geez, you have to take out a kidney, I guess. So, he is one that listens to everything I say, is focused in on what I'm doing, and then tries to take it on the court. He's not trying to take over this team. That's not what he's doing. He's trying to get his stuff right, and I think what he'll end up doing is, as he becomes what he's trying to do and the vision that we have of him, that, you know, and I'm not trying to make him a 2-guard. He is who he is. There were 4 or 5 things that I thought, for you to be what you're trying to do, this is what they've got to see when they watch you.
Robert, Larry?
Kind of hate to follow a body fat question, but I'll try. So,
Mine is very high right now. I've been trying. This late night traveling and eating is a problem.
understood.
But can you guys just take me from here up? Not that bad, just go from here up.
All right. Two quick things for you. One,
I'm very flawed and I'm a sinner. Have I said that before?
not enough.
Okay, just so in case you didn't know.
Two quick things. One, how much have you enjoyed the football season to this point?
Oh, it's been great.
And then
Can I say this? I called Mark after the Texas A&M game. And if you're a coach, when you lose, don't call me and tell me it was good. I don't want to hear that. Like, and if I see somebody on my phone and I know that's what they're going to try to do, I hit the eat poop button. Okay? So I text to Mark what I saw, that the first touchdown they scored was, okay, your defense I thought balled, but they were in the field too long. It wasn't your best game, and you still went to overtime with a chance to win. Incredible. Best thing, the culture, everybody was mad and angry. Do you remember where 2 years ago we'd be sad, disappointed? It wasn't no sad now. Everybody, their staff was mad, their players were mad, our fans were mad. The culture has just changed in football. The best thing that came out of it was Benny. In basketball, we call it touches. He didn't get a whole lot of touches. And he is like a Heisman candidate. Now, the game ends, they lose. The last play was, okay. And Benny, I can't imagine what he did in the locker room. But I know this, in front of the media, he said everything the right way because he was thinking about his team. That is big. Big when you're a Heisman candidate and you don't get the touches and the team loses. because the kid wants a win. And he knew if I had the ball, give me the ball twice. In that situation, I don't care. Let the lineman fall down. But he never said a word. And I told Mark that. I said, you guys are in a great place, man. What you've done. And I said, keep reminding everybody it's taken you 6 years. That wasn't a 2-year turnover. It's been 6 years.
What should we make of some of the numbers that Jamal had at the combine? Kind of jumped out and kind of where he led the team, a couple different things.
Who was
Jamal.
Jamal Baker you're talking about?
Yes, uh-huh.
The year off has affected him some. Some of it confidence, some of it the competitive spirit. The year off has hurt him, but he's making strides and he's getting better. He's getting better, so.
That's what we're here for.
When are you giving sets like players?
When I'm giving what?
Sets.
Sass? What is that?
By attitude.
Oh, very good question. What's your name?
Elisha.
Okay, let me say what we do now, because I have a team that talks. I want a team to talk. Like, the biggest issue we have, they don't talk enough. The problem is when they talk at the other team, that's a problem. That's an attitude. So, we have a couple guys that start competing and then they start jawing at each other. They start sassing, as you would say. So now we have attitude points. So if they're competing and the score is 12-9, and Kelvin scores and then starts the chest bump and book, attitude point, the other team. Now it's 13-10, and we keep playing. So we have attitude points this year. My job is every year to try, what is this team, what do they need from me? So to get them, I want them to talk to each other. I just don't want them to talk to the opponent. Leave them alone. Very good question. I gave up trade secrets, so.
Go back to Michael, that's all right. This is University of Kentucky basketball media day, we're talking about football, is that right?
Can you imagine that? I have to, funny story, you know I get coffee with, I got my little group of guys, we get coffee. You can't believe the problems of the world we solve, okay? So I said, who do we play on November 9th? And I'm thinking I want my schedule, basketball. He gives me the football game. What are you giving me football schedule for? Like, we're football, you know, like, you just think 3 years ago, it would have been easy. He would have given me who we play in basketball. But it's great. I'm happy for their staff and Mark, but I'm really happy for the guys that came back. I mean, Josh is one of the best linebackers in all of college football. The guy is ridiculous. I mean, I love the fact that those veterans have got to prop up maybe our quarterback a little bit, maybe some of the guys on the defensive side back. You got to prop them up and help them. But what he's done, what Mark has done, and what Benny and Josh and the guys have done to change the culture. And players ride the culture. It's not like you say this is what it is and then they do what they want. They've got to ride it, which means we're going to compete and fight like heck, but we're sticking together.
Do you think on this team you're going to have multiple leaders, and how do you compare this year's team to last year's team?
Well, if this team becomes empowered and it becomes their team, then this becomes scary. But they've got to be empowered. To be empowered, they've got to have more than one leader. And those leaders have to understand if you lead your servant leadership, you're going to be about everybody else. We need someone who's going to bring us all together and pick everybody up, hold people accountable. Are you willing to hold somebody accountable who's not doing right in this room? If you're not ready to be empowered. But we're trying to play in a way that more random in what we're doing, that it goes to them. And, you know, normally, last year's team, I'm not sure we ever became empowered. I mean, it was not, we became a better team by the end of the year, but I'm not sure they ever became empowered where they thought it was their team. They looked to me or the staff for too much. One of the reasons I didn't coach in the Bahamas was because I didn't want them thinking about me, think about each other. Let the coaches stand up. Plus, I wanted to see if maybe I could do that this year. I'm not sure. But I would be good in the seats looking down.
Well, Gary, John, Jerry, guys, just pass the mic back to them, please.
Where have you seen the impact of what the scouts told BJ, really pay off in this game?
Well, here's what they loved. They loved his body, they loved his motion, movement, they loved his competitive spirit, they loved that we made him guard guards in front of them where he could see it. Now they're saying he's got to get more consistent skill-wise. And there's one way to do that, and then that's getting the gym. The message I'm giving this team more than any, your consistency builds your confidence, not me. If you're not consistent, doesn't mean you make every shot, but you shoot them the same way. Well, how do you get to that point where every golf swing looks exactly the same? You just go out on the golf course and start playing, you get on the golf tee, you get into the tee box, you go and you say, I'm at the driving range and I'm gonna hit 1,000 balls. Basketball is no different. How do you get to where you're consistent? As a ball handler, you can't, every once in a while the ball gets away from you in the left hand. Well, you're not gonna be consistent. So if you're not consistent, you're not gonna be confident. And I'm just, PJ, we're on it, here's what we want you to look like. Now, this is what you're working toward. You know, I'm loving, just so you know, EJ has been okay until the NBA scouts came. He played out of his mind, like shooting hooks, blocking, like who is this guy? And they were all intrigued by him. And I, you know, obviously, oh, so when the scouts are here, you decided to play a little bit. But Nick is better. Reed is way better. Ashton and Reed are probably the most improved on the team since they've come to campus. Emmanuel, guys loved him. Quad A, they see the body change, that he's better. And then Keldon did not play the second day of the combine. And I announced to the coaches that I'm giving him today off. He wants to play. But we have Tuesday and Wednesday off, so he'll have 3 days. So I'm giving him off today. But it gives you a chance to evaluate Brad, so that's good.
Ron, you've been a little hit or miss when it comes to trying to predict how good your team will be defensively. I remember a few years ago with the BAM team and the Deer team, the league.
You had Bam last night, had 26, 12, 6, and he did it against Anthony Davis and Julius Randle, because I hit him last night as we landed. He hit me this morning, and I said, who'd you do it against? He said AD and Julius, just to make sure I knew. But anyway, what were you saying?
How good is this team going to be defensively, and I guess why should we believe you this year?
What did I say? What did I say? I don't remember what I said to you guys ever. So what was that? I said last year we would be
A couple of years
bad.
ago with the Malik and Bam and the Aaron team, you said they would be great, and they were okay.
In the Final Four, it was okay. Let me say this, if we're that good, I probably would be happy, but go ahead.
Yeah, John, you sort of touched on Nick Richards' cookies goal. Let me say well and ask you the improvement he's made, that everybody watched sees he's made some improvement. How does that impact your team?
It's big. He's still, see, they're competing against each other. He was going against Reed, so he was getting like just, you know, you're getting smacked, hit, elbow, knee. And then he started worried about him so much he wasn't blocking enough shots. Second thing is we have done no post-up until the day Monday. And then I left Tuesday, Wednesday, and back here today, we're gonna do post-up. So we've not thrown the ball to the post much. Now we're starting to. So Nick looked really good. He had left jump hooks, the right jump hooks. He's better because he's more confident in himself. And the first raindrop that hits him isn't gonna have him. Last year, the first thing that went wrong, second thing you knew, look at him, his eyes are down, he wasn't confident in himself. Now he is. And again, to hit on the defense, Ashton is a pit bull mauler on the ball.